Are you new to guitar and just want to learn how to play your favorite songs but don't really know where to start? If you want to learn songs, you need to learn chords, but there are so many chords out there. Major, minor,
augmented, diminished, major 7, minor 7, 9 chords, suspended chords.
How the heck are you supposed to know which ones to start with? These 7 chords are easy for a beginner to learn, and they're also used in thousands of songs. Let's dive in. We're gonna start with the easiest chord, E minor. Put your second finger on the A string, 2nd fret.
Whoa, dude, slow down. I don't even know the names of the strings yet.
Okay, let's go over a couple basics real quick. Names of the strings: E, A, D, G, B, E. Eddie ate dynamite, goodbye, Eddie. Finger numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4. These are frets. You're gonna put your finger to the left of the fret. Okay, so put your second finger on the A string, 2nd fret, and your third finger on the D string, 2nd fret, and play all 6 strings. Make sure you position your hand so your ring finger isn't muting the G string, and use the very tip of your finger. Also, make sure that your palm isn't muting the high E string. You can also play it with your 1st and 2nd finger, but it just depends on what chord you're coming from or going to, which one might make more sense. For our next chord, play the E minor with the 2nd and 3rd finger, and to make this an E major, you're gonna add this 1st finger to the G string, 1st fret, and play all 6 strings again. Now go down each string one by one to make sure that every note is coming out clear. If the G string and B string are getting muted with the bottom of your finger, push your hand forward and make sure you're using the tips of the fingers. Now if we take that exact position and just move every finger down a string, now we have an A minor, but you're not gonna play this low E string. So start on the A string and go down those 5 strings. I like to curl my thumb over to mute that low E string, but if that's too hard for now, just make sure that you start on the A string and go down from there. Now, to make that an A major, we're gonna take this note that our 1st finger's playing and move it up 1 note. So from an A minor, you add your pinky to the 2nd fret B string and then just take that 1st finger off. You can also play it with your first 3 fingers, or even just with your 1st finger, but I'd probably stick to one of these if you're just starting out.
You keep talking about major and minor chords, but I have no clue what that means.
All right, for all you nerds out there, let me give you a quick explanation of what all this means. So there's 8 notes in a scale. A major chord is made up of the 1st, 3rd, and 5th note of the scale, and a minor chord, which is labeled with a lowercase m, is made up of the 1st, flat 3rd, and 5th of the scale. A flat just means you go down 1 note lower. So if we're using the C scale, the notes in a C major chord would be C, E, and G. So 1, 3, 5. The notes in a C minor chord would be C, E flat, G. 1, flat, 3, 5. Major chords sound happy and minor chords sound sad. Now, if that went over your head and you still have questions, don't worry. I'm gonna go a lot deeper into music theory on future videos, so subscribe to the channel if you're not already. All right, up next we have G major. Start with your 2nd finger on the low E string, 3rd fret, your 1st finger on the 2nd fret of the A string, and then the next 2 strings are open so you don't press any frets down. And then you're gonna put your 3rd finger on the B string, 3rd fret, and then your pinky right under that on the 3rd fret of the high E string.
Wrong. Everyone knows you're supposed to keep the B string open.
So technically both are right, but I just prefer the sound of doing it this way. Sometimes I do play it that way, but I'll use this finger instead. Or sometimes I'll play it like this, and I'll mute this A string with the bottom of my middle finger. It just depends on what I'm doing, but there's several different ways to play these. But hey, feel free to troll me in the comments because the engagement helps the algorithm. Up next is C major. We're gonna start on the A string with your 3rd finger on the 3rd fret, and then your middle finger on the 2nd fret of the D string. The G string is open, and then the B string, you're gonna put your 1st finger on the 1st fret, and the high E string is open. You're not gonna play the low E string, you're just gonna start on the A string and go down these 5 strings. I like to mute the low E string with the tip of my third finger. So I'm actually playing all 6 strings. You just can't hear that one. But that might be a little hard if you're just starting, so just make sure you're not playing that string.
Dude, if these are supposed to be easy, I'm screwed. I can't even get a single chord to come out right.
So they're not necessarily the easiest, but they're the most important chords. They're the most commonly used, and other chords are built off these, so they're pretty essential for building a good sound. So they're pretty essential for building a good foundation. But if you want me to do a video on the very easiest chords for a beginner, let me know in the comments. All right, our last chord is D major. Start with the D string open, so we're not gonna play these first 2 low strings. And then on the G string, put your first finger on the 2nd fret. And then on the B string, put your 3rd finger on the 3rd fret. And on the high E string, you're gonna put your middle finger on the 2nd fret. So it kind of forms a little triangle. So you're just gonna play these 4 strings. One common mistake I see is people accidentally mute this high E string with the bottom of the 3rd finger. So just make sure you're using the tips of the fingers and make sure your hand's not angled down like that. So now you know the 7 most important chords, but if you don't know how to switch between them smoothly or your strumming sucks, these are gonna be pretty useless. I'll go over that stuff in future videos, so if you found this video helpful and you wanna learn more so you can level up your playing, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.